Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. I'm your host, A. Johnny Bakari. Welcome to the GOAT James Kingdom channel. We are live Friday night. I'm here for y'all again, like usual. We're about to have a great show. Thanks for joining me. Shout out to everybody that's following us here and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the members. The link is available in the chat line. So you guys who want to join the show, you're more than welcome to. We're gonna have a great conversation. We're gonna talk about the top 50 greatest players of all time, which was a list that was put together by Brandon and I, and a criteria that was put up by Brandon and I. And we've challenged a few folks out there that we've always been debating about the GOAT conversation. And we got the people out there going crazy. So let's get it going. We see some folks already here. I see Crash. What's up, Crash? I'm gonna pull you up in a second, bro. What up, Straight Primo? Shout out to everybody. Make sure y'all share the content, hit the like button. We're also live on Facebook. All right, you can catch us there as well. So we're gonna have a good conversation, man. We're gonna have a great conversation, man, because I'm live wire. I am ready for it today. We got Crash here. All right, you know what I'm saying? So we about to definitely have some fun. We're gonna get right to it. We're gonna have a blast here, man. If everybody's seen the top 50 list, y'all let me know what y'all think about it. We're gonna have some fun, man. We're gonna have some fun. So again, make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. And for those that are not subscribers, share the content. Let everybody know what's up, man. So, off the top 50 list. Okay, you guys see it here. All right, these are the top 50 greatest players from GOAT James Kingdom. Y'all excuse me as I try to get myself situated with everything here. Let me bring up Crash. Meanwhile, what up, Crash?
Yo, what up, A. John? Can you hear me? Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's good, bro?
Yo, what's up, A. Johnny, man? Salute, GJK.
What's good, brother?
Nothing much, nothing much. I checked out y'all video. It took me a little while to check it out. I'll be busy, so sometimes it's like I got to check it out in segments. So, I checked it out and like, I don't like agree with the criteria or any of that. Like, I don't agree like with the criteria, but what I will say is the objective, and I would say it's probably too objective, and that's why the list came out the way it did, where you have Stockton above Scottie Pippen. So it's like I get it, and like nobody got a criteria like that. So at the end of the day, it's like y'all probably got the most objective criteria that I've seen so far. But do I agree with it? Nah, I don't agree with it.
Okay,
I would have Kobe higher. I would have Stockton lower. It'll be different for me.
Okay. Everybody's like, I've heard everybody say, what they got. What's good, everybody? Shout out to everybody saying what's up to me in the comment section. What's good? I mean, again, like I tell people, man, you can have your criteria, right? But you have to just admit where you're being subjective at. I know where I'm subjective at with my criteria, and I've admitted that. But let's
But look, my whole thing is my whole thing is that we all know that the game of basketball isn't like all just numbers and math. Like it's more like it's because like you probably seen in the comment section. I'm over here having a discussion with this Bobby dude. Like I've always wondered why he's a comment warrior and he's quick to always just comment but never want to get on or get exposed. But that's your job to do. This is your channel. That's the content you need to bring. But in the comment section, I'm expose these dudes, and he's saying, why don't you deduct people for turnovers? And I'm telling him like, yo, that's such a casual way of thinking because not all turnovers are the fault of the person who's in possession. Like some things are just out of their control. You can pass the ball. The person it probably won't be in position, and the turnover will be your fault due to your team. You can get double teamed and get blitzed by the other squad, and if your team don't come closer to help you, you're not going to be able to get a high quality pass. So it's like when he told me that, it's like, bro, like how are you going to deduct for turnovers? It just wouldn't make sense. Like it's just people, it's just the MJ faction that wants to downgrade LeBron and say because LeBron got all these turnovers, is gonna deduct him. It's like, yo, bro, you don't understand the game of basketball. And the game of basketball, it's more broad than numbers. You gotta understand the nuances. So for me, it's like, yeah, I'll use numbers and I'll use accolades, but after a certain amount of time, it's like, all right, I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna be like, all right, how you were as a basketball player, what did you do, and how good you were at these moments when you were supposed to be. So that's how I view it. And yeah, it's somewhat of a subjective take, but I'm pretty sure some of us, if we watch the game, majority of those subjective takes, you can probably agree with. You could probably be like, all right, yeah, you know, you're right behind this, you're right behind that, but I might not agree with this one. And as long as you can view it and be like, you know what, you make sense here, we can have a good basketball discussion.
But see, that's the thing for me, right? Because man, people's subjective takes are based off of nothing. It's not based on anything. So as an example, you talk about the turnovers, right? I'm gonna answer your question in a second here, Chris. You talk about what up, Twin Man? You talk about the turnovers. Ask Bobby, well, how are we going to determine the negativity of turnovers? Who has the most turnovers per game in NBA history? They want to bring up who has the most turnovers all time because they can go find that record. But who has the most turnovers per game in NBA history? You know what I'm saying?
They should know that. They love per games.
No, they thank you, but they don't know that because there's no track of that. They don't really keep.
And they wouldn't know. And they wouldn't know how to deduct it. And y'all literally said it from the beginning. We're not looking at the negatives. Like, but people just forget that and just want to say whatever the hell they want to say. And it's like, it gets annoying sometimes. And it's always the same faction that does it. Like, don't get me wrong. You do got some LeBron fans that are just ridiculous. But I can say some of the most objective people that I spoke to about the game of basketball are LeBron fans.
Of course, because Michael Jordan fans never had to be objective for him to be considered great. They could have created all kind of myths about him, and he's untouchable. I was on TikTok Live recently, and I told them Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are vampires because they're the only players in NBA history that if you put a mirror to their face, nobody can see them. But everybody else has flaws but those two guys, which is all nonsense. And to answer your question, Chris, yes, I do believe Scottie Pippen is better than Charles Barkley as a player. If you want to just go off skill sets, things of that nature, his career.
I agree.
Scottie Pippen is one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball, hands down. It's not an argument. You guys don't want to. It's just like the Horace Grant issue. They really don't think Horace Grant had a great career. Horace Grant has 4 NBA championships, being a starter on 4 championships. It wasn't like he was some bench rider for 4 championships. He has 3 championships for being the third man. That's like being McHale. That's like being Parrish. Nobody ever talks bad about those
being
guys.
Worthy.
Or being Worthy. Thank you. Who they're upset about that he's just in front of Worthy. Like how you brought up John Stockton. John Stockton has an illustrious career. He owns records.
Yeah, but Stockton do have a lot of things that you have to take into account. Things like playing with great competent scorers like Adrian Dantley for 1 year, playing with Thurl Bailey, playing with Jeff Malone, and also playing with an all-time scorer like Karl Malone. And the fact that he's playing in a system that allows for a lot of high post passing, which will be very rudimentary, which gave him a lot. It gave him a lot of assists. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and crap on John Stockton. John Stockton is an all-time top 10 point guard, top 10 passer. I'm not gonna sit there and try to crap on him. Just some people rate him too high. And my whole thing is that sometimes we look at assists and we look at these numbers. I just had this conversation with the Bobby dude again. He's telling me about, who's better? Somebody that's averaging 9.5 in assists or 8.5 in assists, or the person averaging 8.5 with 3 turnovers, or the person with 9.5 and 2 turnovers. I'm like, it's not about the numbers. It's who gets the better quality shots.
No, but see, this is another thing. This is what gets me upset with the Jordan fans. I see you, Twin. I'm about to bring you up in a second. This is the thing that gets me upset about Jordan fans and most basketball fans. Like I'm trying to explain to you, right? Do you know for every single thing that you talk about in basketball, there's an actual stat to determine that? So when he's asking you that question about the turnovers to assist ratio, there isn't a turnover to assist ratio stat. And guess who has the better turnover to assist ratio stat between Michael Jordan and LeBron? LeBron does. So when they bring these things up, they don't know what they're talking about. You're not even talking about the stats correctly. That's the subjective part that I understand. If you want to be subjective like how I am, where I value all NBA and all defensive more than the All-Star team. You see what I'm saying? Or more than defensive player of the year, or more than the finals MVP. If you're going to be subjective, I can understand that. But when the stats are there, the numbers are there. When the numbers are there, you got to throw your subjectiveness away. The numbers tell you exactly what you need to be saying.
But my whole thing is that you would you can use the numbers, but it's like you would understand that
Uh-huh.
you're wrong if you actually watch the game. If you actually watch the game, you would understand you're wrong. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying the faction that sits here and spews this crap that says, well, you got a player like, let's say somebody that averaged like 10 assists or be better passer than LeBron. It's like, bro, they don't account for the quality of shots that this person is giving out. If you got 9 assists and I got 6, but all my assists are 3-pointers, I'm giving up to 3-point shots, quality shots, and yours are 2s. Whose assists are more valuable? Like it's simple if you would understand the nuances of the game, but people
there's no such thing as a more valuable assist. An assist is an assist, at least the 2 points. There's no such thing as a more valuable shot. A 2-point shot is a 2-point shot. It holds the same value. Hold on, Twin, man. We're gonna I'm gonna let you come up and speak, but like I said, Crash, you know what I noticed about your generation, Crash? You guys had the benefit of watching basketball. It was available to you. So when you guys always tell us it's what you see, it's hard because we come from an era where we didn't see all the games, and we had
an accumulation.
Had to go to the box score to find out. Like when you go look at Larry Bird's speech, and the guy talks about how he was listening to Larry Bird on the radio, and the guy was saying, Bird with another great shot, great defensive by Bird. He was like, man, this brother could play basketball. He didn't even know Bird was white because he never saw Bird play the game, but he was listening to it on the radio. And he would get the stuff later. That's how we learn basketball. You don't have to watch basketball to say that's how the best analysis. If I told you were watching the NBA, right, and you don't get no box score, are you telling me you're going to give me a better analysis of what you watch compared to me looking at the box score without watching the games?
Oh no. I'm saying it's an accumulation of things. Like you watch the games, right? You watch the games, so you can use your subjective takes, but also the objective takes, like with the stats and all that. Your thing is, you know what? Y'all want to use subjective takes? I'm not even gonna do that because most people they get upset with the whole LeBron James fan or emotions. I'm gonna cook y'all with these numbers. Y'all like using per games. I'm gonna cook y'all with all these numbers y'all like using, which I respect that. I don't have a problem with the way y'all use numbers because y'all objective with it. The problem is with the other people that they sit there and use numbers and they use them wrong. They use them wrong and then they don't understand. They don't understand the game at all. They look at numbers and they become box score merchants and want to talk about basketball instead of basketball. It gets really annoying after a while. And it's like, all right, cool. I'm going to have to cook y'all in the comment section. I'm going to have to cook y'all in the comment section now.
All right, but I'm going to let you get back to the comment section. Let me get this conversation. Yeah,
go ahead. Do your thing.
Man, I appreciate you. Hey, y'all, that's Crash, man. Crash be doing his thing. I appreciate you. I see you all over, brother. You doing your thing. Y'all keep bringing it, man. Y'all keep bringing it. We're going to keep doing our thing. We're going to keep giving you the information. That way, when you make your subjective take, Crash, at least you can base it on some knowledge. You feel me?
I appreciate that.
All right, bro. Be
keep
good,
doing
brother.
Your thing, bro.
All right, brother. What's good, twin man?
So you see how in your recent post, your recent short, I put the comment that I put in there, and immediately someone went 4 and 6. I don't know what that has to do with the criteria. Then it was, I forgot the other comment, but it had nothing to do with the criteria. As a matter of fact, someone said your criteria was biased. So this is what I don't understand. They want you to count, I guess, Jordan stuff for double.
Well, no, when Brandon did that, they told Brandon he was being biased because Brandon did something where he counted, I think he counted playoff accolades as doubles, points.
But see, this is the thing though.
Which helped Jordan out a lot.
He's not number one in anything.
Well, he's number one in a few categories that we did.
I'm talking about like the major categories, like points per game, like points, like I'm talking about total points, no. Assists, no. Rebound,
none of the totals. None of the totals. And
it doesn't favor
him. Even in the playoffs, he's not number one in none of the playoff totals.
Right. So it's like there's no. That's why I said what I said on that short, because unless Jordan is number one, and to make Jordan number one, you have to have a ridiculously biased criteria. But then even in that aspect, if you do MVPs and you know what, every MVP somebody has is 15 points, he still loses because Kareem's going to be the GOAT.
That's what I did too. You remember that was a part of my
I remember. So like, that's what I'm saying, bro. There's no objective way There's no objective way in a Jordan's mind, in a Jordan fan's mind, to do this. Because if you try to do it objective, I think the criteria you used, basically, you divided everything by the greatest achievements of all time. I think that is the most fair way to do it.
It's the most brilliant thing, because you know when Brandon came up with it, he really didn't explain it too well on the show when Ralph asked where did it come from. But I think what he was trying to say was because he did a criteria one time where he put all the greatest accomplishments, where he was like 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists, you know, and remember they were upset with him about that.
Right.
And he was, because they was like, why did you put, he was like, they was like, why did you put a certain amount of MVPs or something like that, and not a certain amount of all NBAs? It was something that he had put a certain amount of the number.
But it wouldn't matter because Jordan wouldn't have the most.
Yeah, it does exactly. So, but either way, so I think what happened with that was Brandon decided, okay, let me just take it to the greatest accomplishment in general, because that's something that then when he did his criteria, that's what he did. He made it the greatest accomplishment.
You're talking about the greatest of all time anyway, so you should be going by the greatest accomplishments.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
I don't understand why people are so upset about your criteria. I think the criteria is awesome.
Yeah. Let me answer this question right quick. Yeah. Apparently Gary Payton claims Stockton is the greatest point guard ever. Hey, Johnny, do you agree? Also, Jason Kidd thinks that Stockton is the greatest point guard of all time. The problem with the position ranking is that I have yet to really put a true criteria up, but the criteria that I have up for it would make John Stockton actually third on my list. I used to have Isaiah there because I thought Isaiah just had this, but there's a lot of nostalgia with Isaiah. Stephen Curry's definitely not a top 5. He's not a top 10 point guard at all. If you told me grab me a point guard, I'm not looking to grab Stephen Curry. I'm sorry. If you told me get a shooting guard, I'm taking Stephen Curry.
All right, I can agree with that.
That's what I'm doing. Even as a small shooting guard, I can play with a 6'3", 6'4", 6'2" shooting guard as good as Stephen Curry is at shooting and scoring. So I'll take that. He's one of the greatest.
I would have to sit here and say I would have to sit here and say in my lifetime, but if we're talking about greatest of all time, I can say you can make an argument for, like, in my opinion, it's about 4 guys you can make a argument for. And you might not agree with one of these names, but I think you can make an argument for Chris Paul.
About what? Being what? No, Chris Paul is definitely top 5 for me too. He's another one of those guys that's underrated because, again, it depends on what they want to value for this particular player. And when it seems like it depends on what tier you're at, they value you differently.
Right.
So if you're in the GOAT tier, there's certain criteria for that. If you're in the mid-range, the 5 to 10, 15 guy, top 20 guy, there's a certain criteria to fit that. And you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, and Chris Paul don't have that criteria, although Chris Paul does. He has all these type of awards. Again, like I said, everything.
Like the only thing Chris Paul is missing is a chip.
Same thing with John Stockton. Same thing with Karl Malone.
Right.
That's what they don't understand. All these guys are missing is a chip. And I said that on the TikTok live the other day. Somebody was saying, well, then why, if you're valuing championships so much, then why is LeBron your GOAT? Because LeBron has everything plus the 4 chips. So again, Karl Malone, Chris Paul, John Stockton has everything but the chip. Charles Barkley has everything but the chip. So of course that one championship would boost them up just a little bit. It's not going to make them greater. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to boost their career 50%.
Like Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward ever. But if Kevin Garnett has at least 2 championships, people would argue it.
Now,
I feel like people would argue it.
Oh, here's a good example. Hey, I see you, Craig. I'm about to bring you up in a sec, Craig. This is a good argument here. Joker. I was thinking about this. As of right now, people want to rank Joker so high. What if Joker plays another 8 NBA seasons? He has a 16-year career, but he never wins another MVP. He never wins another championship. You want to rank him high now? Is he still going to be ranked that high 8 years from now, doing nothing?
No.
Since you don't count totals, and all his averages dip because he's obviously playing more games. You see what I'm trying to say? So like that's why I tell people you have to go off the numbers. The numbers tell you more than anything, more than your eyes watching the game tells you.
I've never understood how people can argue against the numbers when the game is literally predicated on numbers. It makes no sense to me. How do you argue we can't talk about the numbers? You can't use the numbers when the game's based on numbers. You put the ball in the basket, either from the 3-point line or inside the 3-point line or the free throw line. That accumulates a number. That's what I'm saying. Like, this makes no sense to me. Like, every time I hear somebody argue, why are you using numbers? Because it's basketball.
No, think about this, Twin Man. We use 45 different categories in this criteria. 45 different categories. 24 categories in the regular season and 21 categories in the postseason, which includes your total stats, your per game stats, your accolades, and your advanced stats. And mind you, your advanced stats help plenty of players. Because if we look at Carmelo Anthony here, right, we're going to bring this up. What up, Craig? And right, Carmelo Anthony, if you look at the advanced stats, Carmelo Anthony scored a 22.22, but about what, that's 7%. 30% of most of the players that I've been looking at, 30% of their total score is coming from the advanced stats, which is something I wouldn't even add. Most of these guys don't even understand the regular stats, let alone to understand advanced stats.
Exactly.
Like, that's for real basketball fans, real analytic people, real smart people like Craig and I. Right, Craig?
Yeah, because this is my point exactly. How is look at the numbers now. Your Horace Grant post is a perfect example. Like I said, if you have no championships, your stats got to be astronomical to be ranked high, where you can just have championships and a mediocre and be ranked just as much as someone who with no championships with amazing numbers.
Not necessarily so, because it depends on your career. It depends on what you accomplished. It's not. Here we go. I'm gonna bring up. Here we go.
Every time, bro.
Listen, here it is, right here. Look, this is Horace Grant's career, right? If we take a true glimpse and a true look at it, right? It's real simple. Look at he averages like he's not that bad. Look at his rebounds. His rebounds, if you 50%,
he played 17 seasons, only grabbed 9,000 rebounds.
But
that is not good.
That is kind of good for somebody who was the second or third guy. Like, that's what I'm saying. Let me ask you a question. How many guys do you whose rebounds do you know? How many rebounds does Chris Bosh have?
Right.
How many rebounds does Kevin Love have?
I know Kevin Love got more than 9.
And when you look at his career, he actually did better in the averages as far as scoring. His totals his total
he averaged 11 points averages and 9 rebounds.
Is better than his thing. But like I told you guys, look at his advanced stats. So he scores 25 points or 26 points, but a good 9 of them are because of the advanced stats, which are stats that are things that people say that we need to add. Again, when Brandon and I did our own thing, they said we were being too subjective, so we went completely objective on them. These are all the numbers. These are right here. If you look at it right here, there's 24 categories here, different categories he was scored on. There's 21 right here. That's 45 different categories. Don't bring me up 1 or 2 things that somebody's better at. Show me their resume. You don't know their resume. You don't even know the top 50 players' resumes. You don't know it. I just asked you what's Chris Bosh's numbers. You don't have it. And I'm going to bring up all these numbers for everybody to see because y'all don't know this stuff. That's why I exposed it. Yes, that's my job. That's what I do.
But that's what they do. Think about it. When you talk to somebody who really don't know basketball and they really and you have the GOAT conversation, first thing they go to 6-0, 30 points per game. They talk about the 88 season. You see what I'm saying? They talk about him taking the layoff and coming back, coming off the broken foot and still getting him to the playoffs. No context. There's no context around it. They just start rattling off dumb shit. But then when you talk to somebody that knows basketball, you're like, let's put a little context on all of this. They start to get mad. Or it's, why are you hating?
Context to what? Yeah, there's no context when he's 1-9 before Pippen, or he couldn't win the playoff series until Pippen. There's no context for that though.
No, but see, these are all narratives. These are all narratives that y'all opened the door for.
Right.
You guys opened the door for this, all these narratives to be popped up because you guys don't want to talk numbers. If you guys want to stick to numbers,
do that with every player.
Okay,
no, you can't. Listen, I'm gonna be real, Craig. I'm gonna be real. This narrative talk didn't start until LeBron James started going to finals back to back to back. That's when finals appearances didn't count. That's when finals records was really highlighted.
I can't say that and then say rings don't make you great. You can't say
No. I'm not saying I never said rings don't make you great. But at the same time, I'm just talking about the narratives that started being built off of him going to the finals back to back. Because everybody was saying it, damn, he's going to the finals 5-6 times in a row, but he lost. And when I was like, hold up, I remember when finals appearances was the shit. Getting there was an accomplishment. Now it's not. That's my point. Like, that's not overlooked that. Stuff started to shift. Goalposts started to move.
Let me get this. Let me have this conversation with Craig. I'm gonna bring you back up in a little bit, Twin Man, if you're available. Let me get this conversation with Craig. All right, brother. Craig, let's do this. What makes Chris Bosh better than Horace Grant?
You miss Chris skills wise? I mean, he's a 6'10" guy that can shoot three.
Again, that's what y'all want to do. How are you going to measure his skills?
So
if that's the case, then players of today are just better than players of old time because they're way much more skilled.
Yeah, they're much more athletic, but that doesn't.
Thank you. It doesn't make you a better player. So it doesn't matter how skilled you are. We're not talking about your skills because obviously Horace Grant has some skills. He's a professional basketball player that played for 17 seasons.
Yeah, but
there's no way he doesn't have no kind of skills.
Because of injury. It wasn't because of skill. He unfortunately got a life-threatening injury that forced him to retire.
Who are you talking about?
Bosh.
No, but Chris Bosh still played good 14 seasons before that. He still had a good 15 years career. And mind you, if he plays longer, his averages are not going to be that great. That's what you don't understand. So it's like that doesn't help him. Does he become worse because his averages would actually be low?
We won't know. We don't know.
We do know that. It happens for every player. Every player's career, eventually you're going to lose your averages. You can't keep it up unless you're LeBron James. It's the only player to do it. Every player has done it. Every player's numbers have gone down by the end of their careers. It's just impossible to do it. Father Time has been undefeated. That's all I'm saying, Craig. Like, if you guys want to say these things, then you at least have to have the information to say it.
You literally putting it into my point right there.
Mm-hmm.
Horace Grant basically is up there because of basically the playoffs. Because you can't say his numbers is better than Carmelo Anthony for it to be higher.
Well, his career, yes. Let me explain to you. All right, let's do this first.
He's up there.
Hold on, wait. Let's do this first. He's here. I got him. Don't worry. We're gonna do this because, like I said, the numbers are all available to me. Let's do Chris Bosh, right? Chris Bosh scores a 6.4. Horace Grant's numbers up here. He scores a 6.4 in points per game. But let's just do the total numbers. Chris Bosh scored a 4.12 in regular season per game average. But in the totals, he scores 2.88. So that he loses right there. And the accolades, this guy scores 0.53. Chris Bosh only scores a 1.05. Chris Bosh is not doing that much better. Imagine he has 11 All-Stars. So, and then if we go to the advanced stats, Chris Bosh has him by 0.2 points. It's 4.48 for Horace Grant. And then it's 4.68 for Chris Bosh. But then when we get to the playoffs, that's where Chris Bosh falls off. Chris Bosh goes to a 3.6 in per game average in the playoffs because he's a playoff dropper.
Because he fell off in the playoffs because he played with LeBron, not Jordan. That's why he fell off.
No. This guy's career is horrible because he had to leave Jordan to get his career to get better. That's what you don't understand. Chris Bosh, matter of fact, that's another thing. Chris Bosh has 2 championships as the third guy. This guy has 4 championships as the third guy. If he was a starter for those, but he went to the finals 5 times. He went to the finals more than Chris Bosh went to the finals.
My point exactly. It's the rings.
But here we go. But check this out.
Over Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh. No, but that's not the only thing. Chris Bosh totals in the playoffs is low. His advanced stats are low. Chris Bosh scores a 10.35 in the playoffs, while this guy scores a 13.88. So Chris Bosh just didn't do enough.
And why? And what did the playoff consume? Rings and final appearances. That's what's separating them.
What separates them is also in the totals. The fact that Chris Bosh doesn't have the totals. Chris Bosh has 7,500 rebounds. This guy has 9,400 rebounds.
And he could, like I said, a life-threatening injury prevented him from playing longer.
See, there you go. And guess what?
That's the context. Why
but you cannot what's it called? What's his name for that? You cannot knock this guy. because this guy got hurt. You can't knock Grant because
I know
Chris
I
Bosh
can't
got
knock
hurt.
it, but that's the context. That's the context. Y'all don't that y'all just want.
No, the context is still the matter of fact is that Grant had a greater career. That's the fact. There's no context needed in that. Grant is a great player. If Chris Bosh is not that much better, if you want to say Chris Bosh is better, that's the point. To automatically assume that Chris Bosh is better is based off of nothing, Craig. You're basing it off of nothing.
I'm based it off what you just told me. He said,
What did I tell you? What did I show? Where did I show? Where is Chris Bosh better at? That's what I haven't shown. What I showed you is that Horace Grant is better.
You said his playoff performance. You said the thing that dropped him off was the playoff numbers, right?
Meaning that Chris Bosh didn't produce in the playoffs. Well, and
he produced in the playoffs as a number one option.
Horace Grant was never
as a
number one option.
Grant never was number one option.
Chris Bosh was a number two option in Miami in 2015. What happened then?
I'm talking about in Toronto when he was the number one option.
He went to the playoff once and got knocked out.
Grant was never number one option in the playoffs.
Grant was drafted in a 23-team league.
Why? If he was that great, he would have been drafted as a number one option, right?
Listen, he played in a 23-team league. If he would have played in a 30-team league and drafted at number 10, he would probably be a number one option.
The expansion is bad.
I didn't know. We told you the expansion era watered down the league. We didn't say it was bad. You guys always put words in our mouth. We said it watered down the league. That's what we said, and that's what it did do.
It watered down the league where a guy with this great career couldn't have been a number one option on 23 teams.
He was drafted to a team that had the number one player already. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. How many teams that have the 10th pick already have the number one player on their team?
Who's the 10th 23 pick teams. You can't name your superstar on every team.
That's what I'm saying. If there's 30 teams, there's more openings. If Chris Bosh was drafted in a 23-team league, he's not the number one option.
Yes, he would have been. He got drafted by Toronto. He would have been the number one option.
No, there was no Toronto then. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. That's why he had number one option. If there was a Toronto when Grant was being picked, he'd probably be a number one option too.
There was the Hornets.
That's what y'all don't understand.
There was the Hornets.
And that's another false thing. What's the number one option? What the fuck does that mean? I would love to know what the hell is a number one option. What does that mean?
The guy who's a ball hog. That's the number one option. The ball hog.
So that a ball hog makes you a greater player. See what I'm saying? Things that have nothing to do with basketball. So now because I can ball hog, no matter what I produce, I'm a better player. That is nonsense, bro. That's
Bradley Beal. Everybody was saying he's a great player. He couldn't do nothing, averaging 34.
And none of those guys y'all consider to be great. None of those guys. Matter of fact, we ranked Karl Malone 14th.
They call Mason. That's just a super team now in Phoenix because of Bradley Beal.
There's no super teams without LeBron James. LeBron James is the only one that has super teams. Yeah, I appreciate you, Twin Man. I just be wanting to have one-on-ones with people because if you guys want to have a group conversation, we have GOAT James Kingdom on Sunday for that. Friday Night Exposure is to have a conversation with me. I want to have a conversation with people, right? So it got to be a one-on-one thing so that people are not cutting each other off because that's not what Friday Nights is for. Matter of fact, what I want to do with Friday Nights is allow y'all to call somebody up and debate each other. My wife calls she calls my Friday night show Friday Night Sissy Fights. So the premise would be if you get called out to come on Friday night and you don't show up, you are a sissy, and that will be the Friday Night Sissy Fight because most of these Jordan fans ain't gonna show up.
You would not take Horace Grant over Chris Bosh to start a team.
I'm not taking Chris Bosh to start a team.
If you had to pick Horace Grant or Chris Bosh as the first player to pick on your team, you was not picking Horace Grant over Chris Bosh.
Okay, yeah, why not? Chris Bosh. What does Chris Bosh do? I understand what the hell does Chris Bosh do besides what y'all think he did in Toronto, which was nothing? What has he done?
What did Horace Grant do?
What is his skill? What is Chris Bosh's skill set?
You just said skills don't matter. Now you want to talk
about I want to know
that
because that's what we're going to go off of because obviously the numbers don't matter. I keep telling you his numbers are not there. Let's go to skill set. What does the skill sets of Chris Bosh all of a sudden that makes him better than
Chris Bosh was good enough for the greatest player of all time to join up and play with him, right? Now he's not great.
Hey, does your wife have the greatest player of all time? Yes, my wife actually does have a greatest player of all time, and it's called LeBron James. Thank you. I'm picking Grant. Thank you. What up? My boy is here. What up, King John? That's my boy. Grant has a mid-range game. Grant
Chris
has
Bosh
a
got a
post-up.
3-point range.
No, he didn't. Chris Bosh didn't develop a 3-point shot till 2014. Almost 10 years into the league.
So he didn't make no 3-pointers.
Not saying he didn't make them. He wasn't good at it. He wasn't good at it, nor he was a consistent shooter.
I bet you had a better
shots.
3-point percentage than Horace Grant.
Huh? But he has a better 3-point than Horace Grant, but that's fine. You can say he's a better 3-point shooter than Horace Grant, but you can't tell me that's you can't give me that. You can't give me that as a skill set. That's not his skill set. He doesn't have a 3-pointer in his skill sets. If you told me that in Chris Bosh's scouting report was 3-pointers, you bugging.
What I said was he shot threes.
No, but this is what I'm going to give you. This is what I'm giving you a Horace Grant. I'm going to give you a rebounder. I'm going to give you a strong rebounder and interior defender. I'm also going to give you a good post presence. Also a good mid-range shooter, pop and shooter, which is a good guy that can catch and shoot from mid-range, and also
Chris
face
Bosh
up.
Didn't have the mid-range?
No, again, you didn't state that. I actually bring up Chris Bosh. I'm giving you Grant. I'm giving you why I'm picking Grant over Chris Bosh.
I'm talking about what Chris Bosh have over Grant, not what they both can do. Grant averaged 9 rebounds for career. Bosh had
we can't go off of that because we don't have a Horace Grant's mid-range jumpers. We can't compare that. So you can't tell me Chris Bosh shoots better from mid-range than him. But I'm telling you that's in his skill set. He was capable of doing it. That was actually what he did best. That was one of the reasons why he
can't say that about Chris Bosh because they didn't have that for Horace Grant. There's a lot of stuff.
No, I'm saying you can't compare. So I'm saying you would normally go to field goal, but like a 3-pointer. We know Chris Bosh is a better 3-point shooter because the numbers say that. So I can't argue that. But we can't go to mid-range because for majority of Horace Grant's career, the mid-range wasn't there. But in fact, let's do that anyways. Let's go look at what they did count because they did start in 97. He was in the league then. Let's see what his late career numbers was as far as that goes. But again, the list is as unbiased as it can be, Craig. I don't
I'm not saying it's not biased. I'm just saying there's particular things that make a player higher than they would be without it. And I'm saying for Horace Grant, those rings is more important to him than it is to a LeBron James because LeBron James has the stats.
No, but he went and got money in Orlando too. People forget it wasn't like he just.
I know he went to get money because the Bulls wasn't going to play him.
Yeah,
the Bulls wasn't paying him.
Yeah, he went to go get money, and the money was available to him. I mean, it wasn't like you know what I'm saying. Like
I would have left you if he wasn't going to pay me. Nigga, I just got you 3 championships. You want to pay me? I'm out.
Exactly, and he earned it though because he was as a second.
And
option.
He made All-Star when in '94.
Exactly, as a second option, as King John just stated here. In '94, he basically one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, he made an All-Star game as the second option. Bosh made it as the first option. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but Bosh is gonna make it, and Bosh is gonna make the All-Star game in his era. They're playing in different eras. It's a different scenario. That's what you guys feel to realize.
How is it? See,
because of the marketing. Chris Bosh is marketed different. They would market a top pick like him and Scottie Pippen in 1980. There was no marketing for those guys then. There's a marketing for Chris Bosh when nobody know who the hell Chris Bosh is in the first place. He's only being drafted
now
between
you're doing things
LeBron
outside
James and Carmelo Anthony.
Huh? Your skill set will make you an all-star. There's a lot of people who was all-stars. B.J. Armstrong was an all-star.
No, BJ. But I'm telling you, no. All-stars is based on popularity. Come on, let's be real, Craig. It's more popularity than.
But anything. You just said there's a different skill set of why they made the all-star. He was He was a 3-time champion. Of course, he's gonna be popular.
All right, so for the years that Horace Grant had played, let me do these numbers right quick because they got him shooting from 10 to 16 at 34%, which is not really that good. But from 16 to 30 to 16 to 3 foot, he shot 44%, which is actually real good. Let's see if we can look up these numbers. But at the end of the day, y'all make it seem like Horace Grant's not a good basketball player.
I never said he wasn't good. I'm just saying he's ranked higher because of those rings. And y'all keep saying the rings don't make you great. But you can't tell me 11 and 9 without rings is great.
No,
someone who had no rings.
See, but there you go again. That's what you're saying. You're valuing his stats only if he has a championship. That's nonsense. That 11 and 9 is still good. The 11 and 8 is still good without the 4 championship. Would it rank him as high as he is right now?
So show me someone who's 11 same statisticals without championships that would be ranked the same way as Horace Grant.
There's a couple of players here we can do that. I mean, let me go look up the guys that are in that back range that don't have that much stats. Like, I mean, come on, man. What's it called? Average 13 points per game and 8 assists. Is Jason Kidd.
He has a championship.
Stockton, 13 and 10.
And like I said earlier, you have to have astronomical numbers without.
No, 13 and 10 is not astronomical numbers because now you with the numbers, you without championships. Now you're gonna go to the numbers. What numbers you going to? The totals that you don't value.
That's my point. You have to have astronomical numbers without championships to be ranked.
Craig, that's a horrible point.
How? You don't even have Carmelo Anthony up there. He's ranked higher than Carmelo Anthony.
Because Carmelo Anthony scored. Only thing Carmelo Anthony did good was score. He didn't do nothing else great. Nothing else. He doesn't even have great accolades. He has 10 All-Stars and 6 All-NBAs. That's it. One scoring title.
Grant has no NBAs, no All-NBAs.
He has 4 All-Defensive teams. He has 4 All-Defensive teams. He has 4 All-Defensive teams. That's what puts him. And he has better playoff numbers than was, because when he was in the playoffs, he was productive. What was Carmelo Anthony doing in the playoffs? Nothing.
Made the playoffs what, 4 times in his career?
There you go again. That goes to your point. We're counting your playoffs. For people who claim playoffs matter the most, these are people that don't do nothing in the playoffs. For y'all who drop Wilt Chamberlain because of his playoff numbers.
Don't say y'all. I don't say nothing about his.
You gotta take one for the team because look, they've been asking for Bobby, and Bobby showed his face now, but he won't really show his face. He's talking about Craig's on point here. Because Craig, you're just as subjective as anybody else. I don't understand why y'all can't accept the numbers.
Your graph is showing me what I'm saying. Stockton is ranked what, 25th with no rings. Why? Because he's the top 1 in 2 statistical categories.
Yes, because rings are not the only thing that makes you rings are not the only thing that makes you a great player.
But he's ranked higher than Steph Curry. As well. He's ranked higher than people with rings.
Because he's greater of a player. You have rings does not make you greater than somebody, Craig. That's what you don't understand.
I'm saying it makes emphasis on you great and stuff like this.
No, it doesn't.
You take those rings away from Horace Grant, he would not be ranked nowhere near higher than. That's my point.
Craig, the reason Stockton is ranked high is because Stockton is great. He could have had.
I'm not saying he's not great.
And he could have had 5 championships and less stats.
And he would be ranked higher than 25 with 5 championships.
No, he wouldn't. Because
yes, he
would. Because there's guys with 5 championships they're not ranked higher than him.
If he had 5 championships with his stats, he would be ranked higher than 25.
If he had 5 championships with his stats, he would have gotten.
He would be top 10.
Wait. I got this, Craig. Hold on, wait. 5 championships divided by 11. We can just do the number. Look, 5 divided by 11 is 4.5. So he would have got like one more or 2 more points. So he would have scored 37 points.
You got to add the appearances. That's 5 appearances.
It wouldn't have boosted him that high. He would have went from 21 to like 19. But that's what I'm saying. He would have went from like 21 to 19. He didn't jump to nothing else. With 5 more championships, he didn't jump to the top 10 because he's not that great. He has to do more than just the 5 championships or just the little sis things. You have with this thing, we count everything. It's like, matter of fact, let me bring up Stephen Curry. Yeah, Bobby's a casual. Exactly. Bobby's a casual, and Craig's a troll. Let me bring up Stephen Curry.
Logic against y'all. Y'all let's be backtracking. That's all it is.
And don't be backtracking. We on point. I don't understand where we be backtracking at. Let's bring up Stephen Curry's bum behind.
You don't want to admit that his rings play an intricate part, whether your grading system says it doesn't.
Craig, you get a 0.9 points for each championship that you win. That gets divided by 3. That means you get 0.3 points for each championship you win. That is not a significant difference enough for anybody. It's just a part of your greatness. Just like anything else. That's why we keep trying to tell you nothing is valued over anything else because it's about
you keep saying the championships. In the grading system, you have championships and appearances. Steph Curry got a 3.4.
No, we have accomplishments, great accomplishments. The great accomplishment is winning a championship. The great accomplishment is making the finals. The great accomplishment is winning the finals.
So you have to make the finals to make 5 championships.
Exactly. That's why it's important to be in the finals. That's why it's important to win your conference. It's an accolade, Craig. It's an actual accolade.
You have to make the playoffs to make the finals.
I get you, but making the playoffs is not an accolade. There's not an accolade for it. It's not nothing like that. It's just you just made the playoffs. You just earned the right to play in the tournament. It's not an accolade. And even if we wanted to add that, we can add that. But like I said, Michael Jordan does not have the most playoff appearances. And because of that,
for the playoff appearance. I'm just saying.
You know what Michael Jordan will score for playoff appearances? Let me give you his numbers right now because all y'all care about is Michael Jordan. He would score 6.8.
I didn't say anything about Jordan. You the first. You didn't hear me say Jordan this whole conversation.
It's about
you
Jordan.
Brought up Jordan, not me. We was talking about Horace Grant and Bosh.
Yeah, because Horace Grant had a better career than Bosh did. That's it. No matter what y'all want to say, his career was better. His career was better. Someone say Kevin Love's a Hall of Fame. If you think so, they say based off nothing. Well, guess what, Bobby? You get a chance to come up and debate Crash if you really want to debate Crash. If not, you're safe in the comments. Like I always tell y'all safe in the comments, bro. Y'all are truly safe in the comments. But look at and his accolades. He has 6 finals appearances. But again, like I told you, all these guys' scores are because of their advanced stats. If we took away these advanced stats numbers, a lot of this would change. That's right. Tell it to
I
man.
just want to point out what your graph pointed out in my perspective.
Well, what you say? What did it point out? That
I pointed out that is an intricate part. Ain't Horace Grant ranked higher than Iverson?
No, he's right behind Iverson.
Oh, right behind Iverson? Because I don't remember.
He's in front of. Now, mind you, that's because we only graded. That's only because we graded 83 players. There's some players that we're going to finish up, and we're going to see where all the top 75 guys really do land at, and that's outside of the top 50. Because I don't think anybody that we didn't grade will crack the top 50. Because scoring 28 points is going to be you're going to have a real good career. And I think we got everybody now. But if there is anybody, I'll let y'all know. Because I am going to do the guys that we excluded from the top 75 list in general. So, see, like Crash says he has Stephen Curry in his top 10. I don't know from what. Like, I don't know what does Stephen Curry do to be in the NBA top 10 greatest players of all time. That's crazy,
I don't know
Crash.
either. I don't know why people putting him in it.
That's crazy.
The only person you could put top 10 that's still active is LeBron James. That's it. You cannot put no other active player in the top 10.
No, that's crazy, bro. I can't do that, bro. I can't. Listen, man. He's not top 10, man. He said, "Go James." That's his objective opinion, which he has every right to give. I disagree, so which is why everyone is entitled to their own list. Again, I already told y'all. I know that y'all want to be biased. Y'all have no choice because numbers is not really a good thing in America, bro. Y'all are not good with numbers. Y'all not good. First of all, y'all don't understand the numbers because basketball have done y'all a disservice. ESPN has done y'all a true disservice for the last 20 years. We already know TNT is horrible. Barkley don't teach you nothing. Shaq don't teach you nothing. Kenny Smith running to the board is just Kenny Smith running to the board. He don't teach you nothing about basketball. You guys think playing basketball is like what Craig said, being a number one option, taking the shot, all that. That has nothing to do with
I did not say that. I just said people have different roles on teams. The number one option.
Nah, I don't know about that. Some guys end up having that role because there is nobody else to give the role to. That was just like Drummond and Al Jefferson and Millsap, players that y'all don't give no respect for. Millsap was the number one option for a team that won 60 games. And I hear y'all talk shit all the time about that team. That's what I'm saying. Y'all just be saying whatever y'all want to say when it fits your narrative because it's never based on the numbers. That's why people want to say whatever they want to say. It's my opinion. Then say it's your opinion. I'm telling you here as a Johnny, the exposer, I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm giving you facts. I'm not talking to you, Craig. I'm just telling it to all these people in the comments. I'm giving you facts. I'm giving you real numbers. If you ain't using no real numbers, then you just talking. Like I tell people, I don't care what you have to say. My child tells me stuff all the time. I don't have to listen to them. They don't know the world. You don't know basketball. I know these people's numbers. I have their numbers right here. I wrote them down. I got them. They're available to me. You don't have nothing. You don't even know Stephen Curry's numbers. Y'all don't know nothing. Stephen Curry's only matter of fact, Craig, Stephen Curry's only top 10 because he has 4 championships. Nothing else.
No, he's not in my top 10.
But I'm just saying, what would make him a top 10 though? That's what I want to know. What accolade or accomplishments does he have that would make him a top 10 player? Watch they bring up impact, all this other nonsense.
He's not top 10 though.
I say I'm talking about Dr. J is top 10. Dr. J is a top 10 player. If you are including his ABA career, you have to make him a top 10 player. If you're just including his NBA career, then you can't exclude it. I'm just being real, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't have Steph Curry in my. I don't, like I said, only LeBron James could be put in the top whatever and be an active player. No one else can be an active player and be top 10.
Yeah, and that's another thing too about those guys too. I don't like to rank those guys because of that. That's a great thing that you brought up there, Craig. I don't like that idea of that, like of ranking those guys, because everything could change. These numbers for these guys could all change. It might not be this next year.
Now, my only thing with LeBron is how much points you're going to add to the total list, because Kareem added 6,000 when he got the list. So I'm going to see how much points he add when.
Man.
Because remember, Kareem only had to get 32,000 to be the number one. And he added 6,000 after that.
See, here go. And so Crash is giving us the skill sets of Stephen Curry to why he's top 10. So it would be his skill sets. He says, not to me, his rim pressure. Is that are you talking about Stephen Curry here, Crash? It says his rim pressure, his gravity, his ability to shoot off the dribble, shoot off the catch, play off the ball. Please, his peak and longevity plus all his accolades. I don't know if that's LeBron. He might be talking about LeBron.
He probably talking about Curry. But Curry's top. He could be top 10 because of the other stuff he can do.
He said no. He said he's talking about Steph there. So he's giving us Stephen Curry's skill sets to why that is. Again, like I said, man, Stephen Curry's not top 10. He's not top 20. I don't even know. I'm sorry. I can't find. I could easily name 20 players better than him, and he's definitely not top 5 point guards of all time, which is what we're probably going to do this week. We're going to talk about the top 10 players in each position from the numbers. So, and obviously we're going to talk more about the criteria. I agree. Gravity is big. His work off the ball is a big deal. I mean, yeah,
he can't be top 10 in my opinion, because for a point guard, he can't orchestrate the offense. So that's one of the main things a point guard do. He's an offensive point guard. You can't be top 10. You can't do the basic of your position.
I mean, that's why I have a problem making them top 5, because I feel like if we're going to talk about positions, then you have to have a role as a position. And there's always been the traditional role that point guards were the ball facilitators, the offensive creator. The
Draymond is a point guard, is more of a point guard than Steph.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, and he is. That's why they need him. That's why they need him. They know that. They know that. I mean, again, Stephen Curry is a great scorer. He's definitely one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history.
He had to score. That's the only way he was going to stay in the court. He don't play defense. The only way he could get time is to be the scorer.
Did you hear about that? Did you hear that what Shumpert said about that? And I also got something else where Richard Jefferson was saying how that's why they were able to win that series and why Kyrie actually went off, because they realized that they were trying to get Stephen Curry off of Kyrie. Like they noticed Stephen Curry did not want to play against Kyrie Irving. Like he was that so they initially everything throughout that. When they realized it, that's when they started doing it. That's when Kyrie went off for the 40-point game and all that, and he hit the shot. Like everything that they set up, he was like, and he said it was based on LeBron, because LeBron was like, he said LeBron is big on matchups. He said so LeBron likes the idea of of letting Kyrie go up against Stephen Curry and the whole team, and they all. I'm gonna post it. I got videos. I was gonna make the video today, but I've been doing a lot with the criteria.
I mean, it was obvious he can't play defense. But you could even see when he was playing against Kyrie in the season. We knew he couldn't guard. He couldn't guard, Kyrie.
But let me ask you this, Craig. Why can't a Michael Jordan fan or anybody else come up with a criteria like ours? Why is it just
it's
purely
not that they can't come up with this thing. I have a criteria. I just didn't put it to pen to paper yet, because it's a whole lot of
But that's what I'm saying. Why can't y'all do that? Because I want to see somebody's criteria. I want to see it. I want to see Jordan score high. Like I want to see it. I want to see that. Like I want to see him scoring the most in a criteria. I don't want to see the ones that like I normally see where it's him versus 1 or 2, 3 players, or where it's just the accolades. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to see the score of all the things. Like I said, we have 45 different categories that we use for this list. Well, I'll take a biased one from now, bro. I don't even care. I just want to see it. I just want to see it. I just want to feel better about it.
I mean, like I said, I had the criteria. I just never put it to pen and paper. It's a whole lot to do. You look how long it took y'all to do that. So me, I gotta go. Hopefully, my Adobe is still working so I can do graphs. It's a whole lot to do these things.
Yeah,
I used to do this.
We started with a top 10 list, though. You know that, right?
Huh?
We started with a top 10 list.
I mean it's easier once you did one. You can just add players to it, but just to come up with one and then.
But Craig, this is easy criteria right here, Craig. This was easy. This was not hard. To do this right here was not hard. This was nothing complicated. This wasn't hard. This is like I tell you, like how hard. I mean, maybe my mind works that way different than people. I don't know, but to me, it wasn't that hard. It was just as simple as, well, let's find out what's the greatest things, and let's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because the conversation is the greatest players of all time. So if you're the greatest player of all time, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do the great things. You have to have great accomplishments.
Yes, a lot of players do got great accomplishments.
Yeah, right here. Somebody said they got you, Craig. If you need to put it to pen and pad, they got you.
Oh no, I'm gonna do one. I just gotta get time to sit down and.
Oh, I got the TikTokers going crazy. They were talking about criteria the other day on TikTok. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. They were going crazy, bro. But you know, at the end of the day, man, we didn't want to do this. We just did this because we get tired of having to defend ourselves on why we have LeBron as the GOAT. And the fact that we use numbers. If you don't like to use numbers, there's something wrong with you. You don't know the game of basketball. But it's funny though, because people really do use numbers. They just want to use them when they think it's necessary, or when they think it fits their narrative. You know, I know the numbers. When I talk them, I know what I'm talking about. Like they get mad at me because they think I'm arrogant, but I'm just telling you, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Like Draymond Green, they were mad Draymond Green was top. You don't think Draymond Green's top 50, Craig?
Top 50, what, all time?
He was 49th. He ended up being 49th. And mind you, I scored him late. He wasn't in him and Horace Grant were not players we were going to actually even do. I did because we had extra time. I was like, yo, I got some time on my hands. Let me just do those players and see what their numbers come up to be. And when I saw Draymond Green's number, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, damn. Like, and mind you, he scores high, and he doesn't score that much points per game. Here goes another guy that he scores high in the averages, and his averages are low because he's good in assists, he's good in rebounds, he gets steals. Look at his numbers. If you got a 5, that means you're 50% of that greatness. How much better can that be? He has 3 categories where in rebounds, assists, and steals. That's just in averages. And he has low totals, but he has high totals in the playoffs because they played in a lot of playoff games. But another guy where a good portion of his numbers is because of this one's like 25%. A good portion of his numbers is 8, something like that. It's because of the advanced stats. Everybody score high because of advanced stats. I'm sure you noticed it.
Yeah, I see no one lower than like a 4 in advanced stats.
Exactly. Everybody scores high because most of the advanced stats people are close in. They're not really far off in. Especially like the PER. Like most players that I saw were like PER were above 18, 19, which is basically more than half. Most of them were around 20. Jordan is the highest at 27.9, but most players are around 19, 18, 20, 21. Yeah. So they score high there. And the same thing with the true shooting. Most players
think about it. All the players that has those high PER are playing in this era of basketball, besides Jordan.
No, but even all the players I rank in general, like I said, if we look at Draymond Green's PER is 5.6. So his PER is somewhere around 17, 19, 18, something like that. You know, Reggie Miller's the same thing. Everybody was actually rated to the same thing. All these guys, everybody was rated to the same categories. Like that was the same thing. Like I'm looking at right now, Jerry West's PER is 23.1 in the playoffs and 22.9 in the regular season. So that's an 8.2 right there. That's 80%. He's 80% of that greatness. And I go to Walt Frazier. Walt Frazier is 19.1 and 19.8 in the playoffs. That's his PER. So the advanced stats help a lot of average players because they're right there with the greatness. It doesn't help you see the greatness. That's one thing I learned about this criteria is that advanced stats do not tell us who's the greatest player. It doesn't show you the greatness of a player. It really doesn't. It's just for people who want to have a better understanding of the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that's what I believe.
I mean, it's there, so I mean, they're not going to make up a stat. So I mean, it's optional. I would say advanced stats is optional. It's not because no one really, not even NBA, really don't be caring for all that. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, it's optional.
Don't watch basketball who wants to talk stats.
But as a thing, you know, Crash just said that that LeBron always favors advanced always favors LeBron. In reality, when we graded Michael Jordan scored over an 8 in regular season, in both regular season and postseason advanced stats. John Stockton advanced stats was over 7 and 5. He scored over 12 points just off advanced stats alone. So again, I guess it does show a certain amount of greatness to a certain degree, but like I said, compared to other players, it doesn't separate them from the average players. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? So, but again, I like it. It's an objective. Like I said, it's an objective list, man. It's you want to like Carmelo Anthony. You know what really killed Carmelo Anthony? His playoffs, bro. His
playoffs. If you crap. You don't go if you don't got a team that go far in the playoffs. I don't care how good your stats are.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, his playoff stats are low across the board.
What, 5 times in his career? He played 20 seasons?
Yeah. And just to answer your question, Crash, LeBron scored 9 in each of the advanced stats, both in the playoffs and in the regular season. So that was what he scored again because LeBron James is high and almost everything in advanced stats. LeBron James like 90%, if not 100%, the number one guy in it. Yeah. So you had a non-biased list. What you know what I'm saying? What makes it so official? That's what makes it so official. I appreciate you, King John. So you know what I mean? Like I tell people, man, we would just like to talk basketball. All of this is because of Jordan fans. Jordan fans brought all this out because they swear they know basketball better than everybody, and they don't. They don't even know basketball. So, I don't know. So, you ready for Sunday? You going to be available this Sunday?
Yeah, I'll be here Sunday.
So, we're gonna talk about the top 10 greatest players in each position and see how that fit with people because, you know, top 10 by position is always a conversation. Because we still got to break down a lot more about the numbers. Find out, like, who scored the highest in each particular category and stuff like that. But that's going to take some real time. So we're going to be doing this for the next few weeks, man. We're going to be killing y'all with this. We're going to sledgehammer y'all with this criteria shit. Oh, Craig disappeared. That's what we about to do to y'all, man. We about to hurt y'all feelings because we have the greatest criteria that ever existed. If y'all don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. That's what Michael Jordan scored. That's what Bill Russell scored. That's what Kareem scored. That's what Wilt scored. And that's what the GOAT of basketball scored. That's the reason why he's the GOAT of basketball, because he can look, that shows you right there. Not only did we tell you he's the GOAT with our subjectiveness, with our biases, he's the GOAT by the real numbers, by the actual numbers. So either way you want to talk about this, LeBron's the GOAT of basketball. Y'all just gotta accept that. All right. Well, we about to get up out of here, man. I'm about to enjoy my Friday evening. You guys have been wonderful. I appreciate everybody who supports us here in GOAT James Kingdom. You know, shout out to everybody who's a subscriber to our channel right here in GOAT James Kingdom. Make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe, share the content, let the world know about us. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep coming. I'm also going to start going live on TikToks. I haven't picked a night yet, but I'm going to go live Monday night. So if you're on our TikTok, make sure you follow us on TikTok, share our content there. You know, we're on Facebook as GOAT James Kingdom. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. I'm A. Johnny the Exposer. This is Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a great Friday night. And I'll see y'all Sunday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, so we can talk the GOAT and basketball. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.